read it again. And he's making $95 a month US.
Please be seated. The Honorable Minister of Health.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Before we do that, Premier.
Mr. Speaker, I beg to move the suspension of Standing Order 10-2 in order that the business of the House may continue beyond the hour of interruption.
Question is, Standing Orders 10-2 be suspended in order for business of the House to carry on beyond 4:30. All in favor? Aye. Those against? The ayes have it. Honorable Minister of Health.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I would like to thank the members for their tacit and spoken support of this important piece of legislation. The Honorable Leader of the Opposition has indicated that he has a number of concerns with the drafting of the legislation. A piece of legislation that I agree addresses important, sometimes life and death issues. Mr. Speaker, I'd like to take this opportunity to provide some clarification on some of the concerns that have been raised. First, I think it is important to clarify that this legislation deals with all healthcare decisions, not just the DNRs that the Leader of the Opposition referred to in his contribution. The Advance Directive allows the directive maker to record their healthcare wishes regarding all types of treatment, including DNRs, but not exclusively to DNRs. To be clear, the proposed legislation is intended to only deal with adults as defined in the interpretation law and does not make provisions for a healthcare directive for minor children. This, Mr. Speaker, reflects the fact that parents are responsible for minor children and the associated healthcare decisions for the minor. A minor is not legally authorized to make their own healthcare decisions, but rather the authority rests in that minor's child's parent or legal guardian. In regards to the question as to whether this legislation is required when living wills are already recognized here, Mr. Speaker, I'd like to note that my understanding of living will is that it is a written statement detailing a person's desire regarding their medical treatment in circumstances in which they are no longer able to express informed consent, essentially an advance directive. In fact, the terms living will and advance directive are often used interchangeably. And so, Mr. Speaker, this proposed legislation is in fact creating the legal framework to allow these living wills or advance directives to be given legal standing in our jurisdiction, which is not currently the case. The forms in the schedule are indeed detailed, which can make them appear intimidating on the first glance. However, given the nature of what is being captured in the form, it was decided that it would be better to err on the side of providing more detail to inform and assist the directive makers when completing the forms. For example, Mr. Speaker, on page 48 of the bill includes the definition of end stage in the directions to the directive maker. That is an incurable condition that will continue in its course until death and that has already resulted in loss of mental capacity and complete physical dependency. It is also worth remembering, Mr. Speaker, that this directive will be made with a medical doctor as a witness, and this medical doctor can provide guidance and assistance to the directive maker when they are working through the form for their advance directive. The form for the directive also includes a checklist to remind the directive maker to make sure and share the directive with their family medical practitioner, and others. The fact that the directive maker has an advance directive should be well known, which should help mitigate against the concern that a directive maker may arrive in a hospital and there will not be anyone to confirm or any way to determine if there is an advance directive in place. As I mentioned earlier in my contribution, it is critical that we start having these difficult conversations, Mr. Speaker. That is the best way to ensure that your wishes for your health care are known and can be respected should you become mentally incompetent or incapacitated. It will be up to the individual to take the necessary steps to make sure that there is an awareness of the fact that they have made an advance directive. In addition to telling their family and friends, this may include bracelets, tattoos, or some other means that they opt to use to alert those around them. Regarding the possible future need to recognize advance directives from other jurisdictions, besides those already provided in for the bill, Clause 53 of the bill allows for Cabinet to make orders to amend this list contained in Clause 52 of the bill. Mr. Speaker, the bill allows for the making of regulation under this law, and it may be that we consider providing more specific guidance to the hospital's ethics committees by creating regulations to guide them. It is something that I will take under consideration and discuss further with the ministry. In closing, Mr. Speaker, I believe this is a bill whose time has come. It will be creating the opportunity for those who wish to do so, have an advance directive in place that clearly outlines the wishes for their health care, and it will create the legal framework to allow these wishes to be recognized and upheld. I believe, Mr. Speaker, that it will create an opportunity to ease the emotional burdens on family and friends when a loved one falls seriously ill. And I would like to thank the members for their support. Mr. Speaker, I thank you. God bless.
Question is that a bill for a law to provide for healthcare directives and for incidental and connected purposes be given a second reading. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Those against? The ayes have it. A bill for a law to provide for healthcare directives and for incidental and connected purposes has been given a second reading.
The Monetary Authority Amendment Bill 2019.
The Honorable Minister of Financial Services.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I beg to move the second reading of a bill shortly entitled the Monetary Authority Amendment Bill 2019.
The bill has been duly moved. Honorable Minister, are you speaking there too?
Yes, briefly, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I rise to present the bill on behalf of the government. It is a bill that seeks to address an issue identified and to clarify the definition of the term money laundering regulations in the Monetary Authority law. Mr. Speaker, during recent discussions between the Ministry of Financial Services, the Honorable Attorney General's Chambers, and the Anti-Money Laundering Unit, a lacuna in the definition of money laundering regulations in the Monetary Authority law was identified. The issue identified is that the current definition now only references Section 201 of the Proceeds of Crime law, but does not include a reference to Section 145 of the Proceeds of Crime law. Mr. Speaker, importantly, the Cayman Islands anti-money laundering regulations are made under Section 145 of the Proceeds of Crime law, and as such, it is important that the definition of money laundering regulations in the Monetary Authority law also reference Section 145 of the Proceeds of Crime law. Mr. Speaker, the bill is a short one, and it is arranged in two clauses. Clause 1 of the bill makes provision for the short title of the legislation, and Clause 2 of the bill amends the definition of money laundering regulations to include a reference to Section 145 of the Proceeds of Crime Law. Again, Mr. Speaker, that's pretty much concludes the presentation on this bill, and in closing, I'd like to thank the work of the Honourable Attorney General and his chambers, the Anti-Money Laundering Unit, and the staff of the Ministry of Financial Services and the Legislative Drafting Department for their efforts with respect to determining this issue and the preparation of this bill. I therefore commend it to this Honourable House for passage.
Is the member from Bordentown West?
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I just rise to lend our support to this bill being brought by the government. I commend them for taking the necessary steps to ensure that when it comes on to money laundering, that we close as many loopholes as we can in terms of definition or whatever, because for the economy that we have, it is a very serious thing, and the reputation of the Cayman Islands have suffered greatly in many cases for things that don't even relate to us, and is normally someone else is doing. So in that regards, we're glad to see at least this definition is being made much clearer, and we support it. So I just want to give the government thanks.
Does any other member wish to speak? If not, Honourable Minister, are you winding up?
Yes, Mr. Speaker, just to thank the member from Bordentown West and for his vocal support and for the tacit support of everyone else in the chambers for this change. As this Honourable House knows, the government does indeed take very seriously the need to ensure that we have a strong and robust anti-money laundering and countering of terrorist financing regime as possible as a country, and we are committed to doing all that we need to do to continue to ensure that we have a regime that supports and promotes the soundness within the global financial services industry. And of course, during the course of the year, there may be a need to address other issues that we have identified as a jurisdiction, and also that may be emanating from the recent CFATF MER report. So I thank this House for its support of all of the efforts that we are taking in this regard thus far.
Question is that a bill entitled the Monetary Authority Amendment Bill 2019 be given a second reading. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Those against, the ayes have it. The Monetary Authority Amendment Bill 2019 has been given a second reading. The House will now go into committee to consider the bills. Please be seated. The House is now in committee. As usual, we will give the Attorney General permission to do the necessary corrections. Now, tell me where we go from here. First bill. First bill is exchange amendment. So, you read the title and the clause, right? Yeah. Good.
You're good. Go ahead.
I said I read.
All right. You call me.
Clerk to state the bill and read the relevant clause.
The Bills of Exchange Amendment Bill 2019, Clause 1, short title and commencement. Clause 2, insertion of Section 74A of the Bills of Exchange Law 1997 revision. Alternative means of presentment by banker.
Question is that clauses 1 and 2 do stand part of the bill. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Those against? The ayes have it. Clauses 1 and 2 stands part of the bill.
A bill for a law to amend the Bills of Exchange Law 1997 revision to provide for the presentment of checks by electronic means for the purpose of facilitating automatic check clearing and for incidental and connected purposes.
The question is that the title do stand part of the bill. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Those against? The ayes have it. The title stands part of the bill. On this one?
The Builders Amendment Bill 2019, Clause 1, short title and commencement. Clause 2, amendment of the Builders Law 2018 revision. Clause 3, amendment of Section 2, definitions. Clause 4, amendment of Section 4, Builders Board. Clause 5, amendment of Section 6, criteria for registration of a business entity as a contractor. Clause 6, amendment of Section 13, issuance and expiry of registration as a business entity. Clause 7, amendment of Section 15, removal, suspension, etc. of business entities from register.
Question is that clauses 1 to 7 do stand part of the bill. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Those against? The ayes have it. Clauses 1 through 7 stands part of the bill.
Clause 8, repeal of Part 4, registration of qualified individuals.
The minister has circulated an amendment. Honorable Minister.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. In accordance with the provisions of Standing Order 52(1) and 2, I, the Honorable Minister of Commerce, Planning and Infrastructure, give notice to move the following amendment to the Builders Amendment Bill 2019.
Yes.
That the bill be amended in Clause 8 by deleting the words open quotation in Section 27, open parentheses, 4, close parentheses, by deleting the words open quotations and 20, open parentheses, 8, close parentheses, close quotations, and substituting the words open quotations by repealing Part Roman numeral 4, closed quotations.
The amendment has been duly moved. Does any member wish to speak? If no member wishes to speak, the question is that the amendment stand part of the clause. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Those against? The ayes have it. The amendment stands part of the clause. The question is now that Clause 8, as amended, stand part of the bill. All in favor?
Aye.
Please say aye. Those against? The ayes have it. The clause as amended stands part of the bill. But that is what we have given the Attorney General that permission.
Clause 9, amendment of section 27, powers of court in relation to non-compliance notices. Clause 10, amendment of section 30, right of the public to complain. Clause 11, amendment of section 40, regulations. Clause 12, amendment of section 41, transitional. Clause 13, savings and transitional provisions.
The question is that clauses 9 through to 13 do stand part of the bill. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Those against, the ayes have it. Clauses 9 to 13 stands part of the bill.
A bill for a law to amend the Builders Law 2018 revision to change the composition of the Builders Board, to streamline the qualification requirement for appointment to the Builders Board, to change the categories of registration for contractors and for incidental and connected purposes.
The question is that the title do stand part of the bill. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Those against, the ayes have it. The title stands part of the bill.
The Design Rights Bill 2019. Clause 1, short titling commencement. Clause 2, interpretation. Clause 3, application to articles in kit form. Clause 4, registrar and duties. Clause 5, requirement for registered agent. Clause 6, application for registration. Clause 7, annual fee. Clause 8, cancellation for registration of design right. Clause 9, publication. Clause 10, searches. Clause 11, certificate of good standing. Clause 12, renewal of design right. Clause 13, abandonment of design right.
Question is that clauses 1 through to 13 do stand part of the bill. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Those against, the ayes have it. Clauses 1 through to 13 stands part of the bill.
Clause 14, design right. Clause 15, ownership of design right. Clause 16, duration of design right. Clause 17, qualification by reference to designer. Clause 18, qualification by reference to employer. Clause 19, qualifications by reference to first marketing. Clause 20, power to make further provisions as to qualification. Clause 21, assignment and licenses. Clause 22, prospective ownership of design right. Clause 23, assignment of right and registered design presumed to carry with it design right. Clause 24, exclusive licenses.
Question is that clauses 14 through to 24 do stand part of the bill. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All those against, say no. The ayes have it. Clauses 14 to 24 stands part of the bill.
Clause 25, primary infringement and design right. Clause 26, secondary infringement, important or dealing with infringing article. Clause 27, meaning of infringing article. Clause 28, rights and remedies of design right owner. Clause 29, order for delivery up. Clause 30, order as to disposal of infringing articles, etc. Clause 31, innocent infringement. Clause 32, rights and remedies of exclusive licensee. Clause 33, exercise of concurrent rights. Clause 34, infringement of copyright. Clause 35, licenses available in last 5 years of design right. Clause 36, undertaken to take license of right in infringement proceedings. Clause 37, Crown use of designs. Clause 38, settlement of terms for Crown use. Clause 39, rights of third parties in case of Crown use. Clause 40, Crown use, compensation for loss of profit. Clause 41, special provisions for Crown to use during public emergency. Clause 42, exception for private acts, experiments, and teaching. Clause 43, exception for overseas ships and aircraft. Clause 44, powers to provide for further exceptions.
Question is that clauses 25 through to 44 do stand part of the bill. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Those against, the ayes have it. Clauses 25 through to 44 stands part of the bill.
Clause 45, design rights, tribunal, jurisdiction, rules, etc. Clause 46, costs, proof of orders. Clause 47, appeals. Clause 48, jurisdiction to decide matters relating to design right. Clause 49, application to settle terms of license as of right. Clause 50, settlement of terms where design right owner unknown. Clause 51, reference of design right matters. Clause 52, reference of disputes relating to Crown use. Clause 53, falsification of register, etc. Clause 54, falsely representing a design right as registered. Clause 55, threats of infringement proceedings. Clause 56, actionable threats. Clause 57, permitted communications. Clause 58, remedies and defenses. Clause 59, professional advisors. Clause 60, licensee under license of right not to claim connection with the design right owner. Clause 61, countries enjoying reciprocal protection. Clause 62, requirement of signature application in relation to body corporate. Clause 63, immunity. Clause 64, regulations. Clause 65, amendment of schedule. Clause 66, repeal. Clause 67, savings and transitional.
Question is that clauses 45 through to 67 do stand part of the bill. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Those against, the ayes have it. Clauses 45 to 67 stands part of the bill.
A schedule.
Schedule. So, question is now that the schedule stands part of the bill. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Those against, the ayes have it. The schedule stands part of the bill.
A bill for a law to make new provisions for design rights, to provide for the registration of design rights, to appeal the design rights registration law 2016, and for incidental and connected purposes.
Question is that the title do stand part of the bill. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Those against, the ayes have it. The title stands part of the bill.
The Trust Amendment Bill 2019. Clause 1, short title and commencement. Clause 2, amendment of Section 2 of the Trust Law 2018 revision definitions. Clause 3, insertion of new sections. Jurisdiction of court to set aside mistaken exercise of judiciary powers and to approve compromise. Clause 4, amendment of Section 72, jurisdiction of court to vary trust. Clause 5, amendment of Section 91, exclusion of foreign law. Clause 6, amendment of Section 105, Trust Corporation. Clause 7, insertion of new section, rules. Clause 8, amendment of Section 113, transitional provisions for Trust Amendment Law 2016.
Question is that clauses 1 through to 8 do stand part of the bill. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Those against, the ayes have it. Clauses 1 to 8 stands part of the bill.
A bill for a law to amend the Trust Law 2018 revision to enhance the inherent jurisdiction of the court in relation to trust and for incidental and connected purposes.
Question is that the title do stand part of the bill. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Those against, the ayes have it. The title stands part of the bill.
The Healthcare Decisions Bill. Clause 1, short title. Clause 2, interpretation. Clause 3, palliative care unaffected. Clause 5, law shall not authorize euthanism. Clause 5, advanced health care directives principles.
So, clause 4.
Law shall not authorize
I think, did you say 5? Yes, so 4. Just repeat that 4. Yes, repeat the 4. Because you, unless we accept that, yes.
No, I read 4.
It was read, but you didn't call the number. So I don't know if that makes a difference.
I'll do it over.
Shouldn't make any.
Clause 4, law shall not authorize euthanism. Clause 5, advanced healthcare directives principles. Clause 6, paramount principle, registered practitioners decide best interests. Clause 7, principles for directives. Clause 8, principles for proxies. Clause 9, validity of directives. Clause 9, validity of directive. Clause 10, capacity to make a directive. Clause 11, form of directive. Clause 12, witnessing doctor's duty. Clause 13, presumption of validity and declaration about validity. Clause 14, ineffective directive provisions. Clause 15, operative directive. Clause 16, directive prevail over attorney and nearest relative. Clause 17, revocation. Clause 18, temporary order. Clause 19, offense contravening temporary order. Clause 20, revocation by ethics committee because of revocation wish. Clause 21, revocation by ethics committee on request. Clause 22, how directive is to be acted on generally. Clause 23, exception to acting on directive. Clause 24, directive acts as the directive maker's consent. Clause 25, withdrawal of directive maker's consent to health care. Clause 26, second opinion and dispute referral to ethics committee. Clause 27, offenses concerning directives.
Question is that clauses 1 through to 27 do stand part of the bill. All those in favor, please say aye. Those against, the ayes have it. Clauses 1 through to 27 stands part of the bill.
Clause 28, appointment. Clause 29, functions. Clause 30, exercise of functions. Clause 31, criteria for exercise of functions. Clause 32, notice of proxy decision. Clause 23, proxy's confidentiality duty. Clause 34, renouncement. Clause 35, effect of proxy's death or renouncement. Clause 36, immunity, doctor's decisions. Clause 37, immunity, acting as a directive. Clause 38, registered practitioners not compellable to provide positive health care. Clause 39, immunity, communicating revocation wish. Clause 40, immunity, proxy decision in good faith. Clause 41, brainstem death cases. Clause 42, requirement for hospitals to provide to have an ethics committee. Clause 43, membership. Clause 44, general power to regulate own procedures. Clause 45, procedural fairness requirement. Clause 46, form of decision and notice of right of appeal. Clause 47, appeal. Clause 48, hearing and decision on appeal. Clause 49, grant courts general jurisdiction for law. Clause 50, recognition of similar directives and proxies from certain jurisdictions. Clause 51, effect of contraventions not being an offense. Clause 52, Cabinet's power to amend schedule. Clause 53, regulations.
Question is that clauses 28 through to clause 53 do stand part of the bill. All those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Those against, the ayes have it. Clauses 28 through to clause 53 stands part of the bill.
Schedule.
Question is that the schedule stands part of the bill. All those in favor, please say aye. Aye. All those against, the ayes have it. The schedules do now stand part of the bill.
A bill for a law to provide for health care directives and for incidental and connected purposes.
Question is that the title do stand part of the bill. All those in favor, please say aye. Those against, the ayes have it. The title now stands part of the bill.
Monetary Authority Amendment Bill 2019, Clause 1 short title, Clause 2 amendment of Section 2 definitions.
Question is that clauses 1 and 2 do stand part of the bill. All those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Those against, the ayes have it. Clauses 1 and 2 stands part of the bill.
A bill for a law to amend the Monetary Authority law to clarify the definitions of money laundering regulations and for incidental and connected purposes.
Question is that the title do stand part of the bill. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Those against, the ayes have it. The title stands part of the bill. The House. Question is that the bills be reported to the House. All those in favor? Those against? The bills will now be reported to the House. Proceedings are resumed. Please be seated.
Estás pensando. Report on bills. The Bills of Exchange Amendment Bill 2019.
The Honorable Minister for Financial Services.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I am to report that a Select Committee of the whole House has considered the bill shortly entitled the Bills of Exchange Amendment Bill 2019, and it was passed without amendment.
The bill has been duly reported and is set down for third reading.
The Builders Amendment Bill 2019.
The Honorable Minister for Commerce.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I rise and I'm pleased to report that a Committee of the whole House has considered the bill shortly entitled the Builders Amendment Bill 2019, and it was passed with amendments.
The bill has been duly reported and is set down for a third reading.
The Design Rights Bill 2019.
The Honorable Minister for Financial Services.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I am to report that a Select Committee of the whole House has considered the bill shortly entitled the Design Rights Bill 2019, and it was passed without amendment.
Committee of the whole House, not a select committee.
A Committee of the whole House, correct.
The bill has been duly reported and is set down for third reading.
The Trust Amendment Bill 2019.
The Honorable Minister of Financial Services.
Yes, Mr. Speaker, I am to report that a Committee of the whole House has considered the bill shortly entitled the Trust Amendment Bill 2019, and it was passed without amendment.
The bill has been duly reported. It is set down for the third reading.
The Healthcare Decisions Bill 2019.
The Honorable Minister of Health.
Mr. Speaker, I beg to report that a bill shortly entitled the Healthcare Decisions Bill 2019 was considered by a Committee of the whole House and passed without amendments.
The bill has been duly reported and is set down for the third reading.
The Monetary Authority Amendment Bill 2019.
The Honorable Minister of Financial Services.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I am to report that a Committee of the whole House has considered the bill shortly entitled the Monetary Authority Amendment Bill 2019, and it was passed without amendment.
The bill has been duly reported and is set down for the third reading.
Third readings. The Bills of Exchange Amendment Bill 2019.
The Minister of Financial Services.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I beg to move the bill shortly entitled the Bills of Exchange Amendment Bill 2019 be read a third time and passed.
The question is that a bill shortly entitled the Bill of Exchange Amendment Bill 2019 be given a third reading and pass. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Those against, the ayes have it. The Bill of Exchange Amendment Bill 2019 has been read a third time and is therefore passed.
The Builders Amendment Bill 2019.
The Honorable the Minister of Commerce.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I beg to move that the bill shortly entitled the Builders Amendment Bill 2019 be read a third time and passed.
The question is that a bill shortly entitled the Builders Amendment Bill 2019 be given a third reading and passed. All those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Those against, the ayes have it. The Builders Amendment Bill 2019 has been read a third time and is therefore passed.
The Design Rights Bill 2019.
The Honorable Minister of Financial Services.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I beg to move that the bill entitled the Design Rights Bill 2019 be read a third time and passed.
The question is that a bill shortly entitled the Design Rights Bill 2019 be given a third reading and passed. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Those against, no. The ayes have it. The Design Rights Bill 2019 has been read a third time and is passed.
The Trust Amendment Bill 2019.
The Honorable the Minister of Financial Services.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I beg to move that the bill shortly entitled the Trust Amendment Bill 2019 be read a third time and passed.
Question is that a bill shortly entitled the Trust Amendment Bill 2019 be given a third reading and passed. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Those against, no. The ayes have it. The Trust Amendment Bill 2019 has been read a third time and is therefore passed.
The Healthcare Decisions Bill 2019.
The Honorable the Minister of Health.
Mr. Speaker, I move that a bill shortly entitled the Healthcare Decisions Bill 2019 be given a third reading and passed.
Question is that a bill shortly entitled the Healthcare Decisions Bill 2019 be given a third reading and passed. All those in favor, please say aye. Those against, the ayes have it. The Healthcare Decisions Bill 2019 has been read a third time and is therefore passed.
The Monetary Authority Amendment Bill 2019.
The Honorable the Minister of Financial Services.
Mr. Speaker, I beg to move that the bill shortly entitled the Monetary Authority Amendment Bill 2019 be read a third time and passed.
Question is that a bill shortly entitled the Monetary Authority Amendment Bill 2019 be given a third reading and passed. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Those against, the ayes have it. The Monetary Authority Amendment Bill 2019 has been given a third reading and is therefore passed. The Honorable Premier.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I move the adjournment of this Honorable House until 10 a.m. tomorrow morning.
Question is that this Honorable House do now adjourn until 10 a.m. tomorrow, Thursday, the 11th of April. All those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Those against, the ayes have it. This Honorable Legislative Assembly stands adjourned until 10 a.m. the 11th of April.